Welcome back to the Green Room Podcast. My name is Massimo and Brendan. We are here at the lovely, historic downtown Franklin Theater. As I said, my name is Massimo and Brendan. I'm one of your co-hosts.
Yeah.
Our guest is making hand signals to the camera.
That's so funny.
Anyway, who is this man next to me with a nice haircut? Huh?
Thank you. Yeah,
Let's all check this out.
I realized last episode I had a haircut but then wore a hat. Yes.
Yeah.
I got a haircut. I was tired of the long hair.
What's your name?
My name is Brendan. I'm here and I'm 24.
How tall are you? Don't lie.
6 foot with shoes on.
You are 6 foot with shoes on?
I'm 5'11 and a half, but with the heel of the shoe, I'm 6 foot.
You are not that tall.
Yeah, I am. You're just that short.
No. We're going to move swiftly on from that because I have nothing else I can do. Well, today we got a great guest.
Yes, so excited.
This man, he was one of our first picks. When we started this, we're like, okay, we got to get this guy on. But he's just been on the road, killing it. He's been really busy. And we finally got him. So did you type out this bio like I can read it straight down, or is it something I need to
I think you can read it straight
nitpick
down.
You can nitpick it. You could dice it. You could
Okay.
rearrange it.
I think
You could add things.
I'll
You could,
probably just read it straight down because I have a hard enough time to be.
Yeah, Massimo notoriously, every episode we do, if there's he asks for a bio and then has the hardest time reading it. But it's like the bit now, so we'll just see
I'm
how this
really
one goes.
okay. What are the words it's gonna managing?
There's always words that are tough for him. There's,
Auditorium. Okay. Cadillac.
say the name that's in between.
Tenille.
Yeah, that name.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Nailed
Well,
it.
I remember you being with
Okay.
her. I remember Tenille.
All right. I think you're good. I think you got it.
Shania. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But just let me collect my bearings here. Okay.
So awkward.
Wait. Jaren. His name's Jaren. I don't know how to say your last name, to be really honest.
all right, let's give a little. We can give everyone like a little lesson.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Jaren.
So-
His name. This is Jaren. I haven't read his bio yet, but I really don't know how to say your last name.
So you take the name Angelina, and this is the This takes care of pronunciation and spelling.
Okay.
Angelina, because everyone has heard that
Yep.
name before. You change the G in Angelina to a hard G instead of a soft G, so
Angle.
Angelina.
Okay.
And then you put a P in the front and an N at the end, so you get Pangelinan.
Pangelinan. Yeah.
Pangelinan. Whoa. That's how long did it take you to
Have you
figure
said
that one out?
Is that the first time you said it?
Yeah.
Pangelinan.
Pangelinan. Okay, now I can read this because I need to say your name.
That's all good.
All right.
Okay. Jaren Pangelinan
Nailed it.
is an audio tech balancing work at home in Nashville and tour and production management on the road. He started right here at the Franklin Theater back in 2015 and has since expanded to other venues like Exit In and the Ryman Auditorium. So notable artists he has toured with and worked with include Elizabeth Cook, Morgan Wade, Tenille Townes, David Cook, the Cadillac 3, and most recently Dasha, as well as tours supporting heavy hitter artists like Luke Combs, Chris Stapleton, Shania Twain, Dan and Shay, Parker McCollum, and Kane Brown. Please welcome to the podcast, Jaren.
Dude,
Thank you.
I love the Meshuggah sweatshirt, by the way.
It's a cozy one. That's why
It looks
like wearing it.
real good, like real
Yeah,
soft.
thank you for coming on.
How you doing,
Yeah.
Jaren?
pretty good.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy, and I
You are a
appreciate
busy guy.
You doing this.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I thank you for even thinking about me to come on.
We think about you all the time.
Yeah, for real. I'm always telling people, I'm like, man, I'm so excited for whenever I see Jaren or whenever he's free, just because you're cool hang and good guy.
I love working here.
And
It's
smart
been a
guy.
while.
One of my favorite memories of Jaren back in the day when we had our time working in tech together was there was a short time where for like 3 months straight, every time Jaren came in, he was learning a new console software.
Yes.
And so he'd be like, I'd be like, which one's it today? He's like, Allen and Heath from like 2009. I'm like, have fun. It was so funny just watching him learn console softwares and like, I got to make my file. And then by the end of the day, he'd mixed the show and made his file. I'm like, shout out to you.
Oh, would you like mixing too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be doing to Act 2. And
Oh,
then in
yes.
between Act 2, sitting there
Figuring out.
figuring out your file for whoever you were with that weekend. Or
Yeah,
it was so funny.
It's called the grind, dude.
I mean, yeah.
He's on the grind.
Yeah.
yeah. I try not to glamorize the grind, but it takes a lot of creativity like that too.
Yeah. To find the time
to do it on the fly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's like my only time, like around that time of doing that. You just have to find pockets.
Yeah.
Of, if I'm fully freelance and bouncing around a lot of different things, but yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Because like Act 2, the kids doing theater, as long as you get the line check, and then you have to strap in for the whole play, the whole musicals. So I mean, those take up a lot of time, but
and they're long
in between,
days.
and they're long days.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take advantage of like any free time I had.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I still kind of do. I brought my whole laptop, even though just in case I need to like send an email or something.
I'm sure
I'm not even on a gig right now.
When you're on the road, it's the same deal. Like if you got to load in at 8 a.m. or something, you still find time on the road to do stuff like that as well. Like, are you working on other projects or other shows or whatever when you're on the road with someone else?
Last year was the craziest time of me having to do that because I would be doing that. I was still kind of finding consistency with any given artist, and everyone kind of had sporadic schedule at that time too, so it kind of just made sense to hop around.
Yeah.
But I was just saying yes to a lot of things. Specifically last year was just like so many different windows opened up that like fit together. So I was like, might as well. But this is gonna suck so bad. But I would be. It's surprising what I've learned on the road is that I feel a little more freer.
Yeah.
Because like one, I don't have like chores in front of my face, like going home. Mm-hmm. To do anything, you're just kind of like resetting each day. You have like minimal amount of responsibility outside of your main job. But I would definitely be finding different times to work on other things or catch up on advances or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like going back to when you first got on the road stuff, I believe you were doing multiple things at once too. You were just kind of being like a catch-all audio guy, but also helper with
TM
everything
front
else.
of house. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, how much do you have to pack in that situation? Because it's like there's so many situations that could happen. You're like, well, I might need a torch, and then I might need like a free, like, you know what I mean? Like so many random things you might need randomly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would stress me out. Like just the packing of that. You know what I mean?
You're a good packer, Jaren?
As you can see, I mean, I brought my backpack and my like sling purse.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like that reflects how I overpack on tour a lot of times. And I recently destroyed my like suitcase I've had for the past 3 years because I would pack so much stuff into it. It's like it's just me out there. I have to like bring, like I'm not gonna bring mics, or maybe I'll bring like a talkback, beat up mic or something like that. But rely on the venue or whatever headliner act, cover essentials and stuff.
Yeah.
Surely I'm not gonna bring like a soldering iron to like fix XLR.
Yeah.
I'll just try to find another XLR or just not use a mic.
Yeah.
If you could bring that, would you bring a soldering kit then?
I would, and a tester. Like I would have my dream workbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which I had a taste of it with Tenille, the previous TM. He's really cool. Andrew, forgetting his last name. He's a really solid TM, and he wanted to like exit the road to enjoy the non-road life. It's
valid.
A lot of times it takes so much out of any given role, like whether you're at the top or just a single tech for something. It's like the same level of intensity, and then maybe just a little bit extra for the people who need to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
But he was solid, but he wanted to enjoy his personal life more, which is totally understandable for anyone to do. And he was so on top of it, he had his own tour manager workbox that he left with the artist, and they had a trailer to store different things, and then a soundcheck locker to store different gear. Wait, I don't know if they had a soundcheck locker, but definitely a trailer to store things like the work box, and then actually random trailer tools like if you needed like a what are those, like a wheel chuck, or even what are those cranks called to lift up the side of a car? A jack, a floor jack.
Oh yeah.
It's like a floor jack, but you just ramp the wheel up to it. You don't have to crank.
Oh yeah.
It's like a wheel jack.
Yeah.
And then like ratchet straps, just little tools that he had collected over the years.
Yeah.
And he kind of had those left over that were the artist had purchased. It was theirs, but the workbox he was just kind of doing a favor by letting me use it for the time being. And there's like 4 main drawers, extension cables for power, ton of extra laminates or like guest pass stickies, and a space for a printer. Or he had a printer in there that I used, that I borrowed, I think. That was super useful. Stuff like that. But like an ideal workbox, even I would want like a double wide kind of thing, and a dedicated table to set up a laptop and like 2 other monitors with keyboard, mouse, ready to print things and stuff like that.
Printers are underrated. I never realized how much a printer is needed
For like set lists and stuff, like when you need a
for
set
anything
list or something.
Yeah.
Or like passes or set. Yeah, because now like not less here at the theater. It's more at the Ryman. I've seen it. Or on the road. It's like, hey, we gotta print like 100 pages of whatever. It's like
set lists for sure, and then maybe like day sheets that people would tape up
day
on
sheet, run a show, stuff like that. I've seen them like the mini printers that are like the pages are like the size of your hand.
Oh, what?
And you can just type it from your phone. Like there's like a software that works with it, and you just type like in the printer, like tell it what to print, and it just prints it right there, like Bluetooth, and then it's battery powered.
It's not in like an 8x11. It's like size.
It's like small. It's like this. Like the paper's probably the size of like my hand. It's a tiny little thing, and then you can just.
What is that?
I don't know. I think it's on TikTok.
Is it like a laser heat? The ink is like laser.
Probably, yeah.
Like you could like scratch it with your nail and
Almost like a receipt.
Yeah.
Like a heat
I figure
transfer.
it'd have to be that, right? You can't do ink.
No. Because then it'd be way too expensive, and you'd be changing the cartridges and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to change it like once a day because it's so. If you use it that much, you go through it.
Yeah.
I had to when I first started TMing small stuff. I saw this other TM front of house guy I worked with on a different gig. He had like this super slim rectangle printer, and it was that heat ink transfer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I got one for my own, and it worked great until it didn't. So
Yeah,
like maybe like a few airport transits, and like even in the suitcase with like a case, like it messed up the ink or something like that.
The reader,
really?
the scanner, or whatever. Yeah.
So it's kind of just dead.
Airports,
Paperweight.
man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of airports going through.
Yeah.
Have you had them TSA like break your stuff? Because there was like a bunch of guitarists lately have been posting their stuff's getting broken by TSA.
Oh yeah.
I've seen some things like that from other random guitarists.
He's seen some things.
Yeah.
Personally, no. They usually just kind of rifle through either my suitcase or if we have like a tech Pelican with gear, and actually maybe a playback Pelican once we found that like I don't think it would have been from transit, but like if they were to rifle through like the power in the back of like the Apollo was like unplugged, or some like audio happened to be like ruffled and like
adjusted.
We had to just kind of like physically test and all the inputs and stuff like that.
That's annoying.
It happens to guitar players I know, like with pedal boards, they'll like unplug all the pedals, make sure you're not like hiding drugs in the ports or whatever. Like, I think that's what they think you're doing, is that like there's drugs in the pedal and that.
They think every like if you have an SKB, black SKB case, like they think it's like a rifle.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a bass guitar.
Yeah, every time or most times.
Yeah,
It's a
believe that.
fiddle, bro. Just calm down.
It's got to if it's shaped like an acoustic guitar, you know, there's like Gibsons or
Yeah.
whatever. That's like obvious, but they're
If
like
it's just the rectangle, like a keyboard, actually, a keyboard
yeah,
is a
yeah.
yeah. That's a lot of drugs. If it's if it's a full length keyboard and SKB
Yeah.
bass, how much? It's like I'd just be blatant about how the drugs I'm bringing
Yeah.
to the airport.
That'd be great. I'm curious, when you first started working at the theater, which is now like 10 years ago,
Oh my god.
the like what was the show, what were the shows like at that time? Like, do you remember when you first started working any particular shows back in 2015 that were memorable or anything like that?
Dude, yeah. The first few shows and like maybe month of just general shows were kind of memorable. But the very first gig I did here, the TD, it was so funny because it was like it was going to be my first like industry job
Yeah.
gig after graduating from school for like that I went to audio for.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, you got black pants and black shirts." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, okay, show up on this day, and it's a cooking show." I was like, "All right." It's like, "Yeah, Daily and Vincent
Daily
cooking
Vincent, yeah.
show." Have they done anything here recently?
Not recently, but they used to come like once a year. I haven't seen them in the last year or two.
Yeah.
Not the cooking. I've never seen them do cooking.
I've never
That
seen
might
them
have
do
fallen
cooking
through as a venture. I don't know.
When last time they were here, they did like a show. Like a
Actually,
show.
I think isn't one of their sons like their monitor guy, or like they have him working with them on
I
tour?
think so.
Sounds right.
That's-
I think
Sounds
I
right.
might have worked the last show they did here, which was like a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah,
Makes
it
sense.
wasn't too recent. Anyway, Daily Vincent.
But yeah, I was just stagehanding for that first day, and it was like I think 2 or 3 days of it, and they had what's the it's been so long since I've been here, but the area with the tables,
Cabaret.
the cabaret.
Oh yeah.
They had cameras set up down there, and then like the typical cooking counter on
Yeah.
like some sort of short riser, but the riser they laid out with some shiny, glossy matting material for the floor. And there's just so many people there because it's like, a film, TV shoot kind of thing. There's just so much crew from different departments. And then I was just with the theater, and theater crew has its own small entity or whatever. But they had me just like spraying the floor in between every take, or like before we started, and then just making sure that so I just had like a black cloth and then like spraying. Yeah, I was like, it was like cut, and then I would just run up. That was kind of stereotypical like entry tech job,
Yeah.
but that was memorable to me because I was like, okay, it's not like what I wanted to do, but I understood at least that it was like the start of all sorts of different events because like it's an events venue, so
Yeah.
it was just memorable because it was my first time in that kind of environment.
Totally.
And then after that, I think my first time actually on the desk was Act 2.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it was when they still had the PM5D at front of house and monitors.
I was gonna ask you if you worked on the PM at front of house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember you showing me the PM5D
Did I?
for monitors. Like,
Oh, yeah,
like when I was
yeah.
starting to get into that. And I could just tell you knew, how to use it, obviously. But
You think you could still throw on the PM5D?
I can throw. Yeah, there's a lot of.
he can throw on anything, dude.
At this point, yeah, everything.
Harbinger, what were we talking about earlier? Yeah.
Even analog desk,
Yeah.
I'll just But the PM5D, it was crazy because, that still had scenes you could program and stuff,
Yeah.
but I think maybe it still felt a little too much for like what Act 2 was.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a throw and go
Yeah.
production in a way with all the kids.
Totally.
Because there's all these classes and stuff. But Sandra, the method that they had, because they had other techs who were regulars, and then they kind of gave me a little brief and it's easy to do. But after a brief of how they operated, it's basically like all the channels laid out, and it's a large format desk, so you can see most of them. And if you needed to page down to the next 8 leftover for that show, Sandra had numbers. She would call out the numbers of all the mics, which we still do. We number all the mics, but she would like call them out over comm. So I'd have to wear this like the bulky clear comm headset, which I still hate using.
We still got it.
They still use.
Still got them.
It hurts so much after a while.
Yeah.
But she'd be like, all right, we're coming up on the next scene. 1, 2, 5, 10. And then sometimes she would, the way she like writes it in the notes, because like the scene kind of dictates how she's calling it in.
Yeah.
So she'd be like 1, 5, 10, 7, 3, 12. And then I'm just like, Sandra, what? I'm like,
You're just unmuting. You're just like,
I'm just like, and I had to page, if I had to page down, I'm like, okay, 23. And it's like, 7. Okay.
That sounds.
And it'd be like the
too
sound
stressful.
of music. It was like, eventually,
Yeah, so
I
funny.
figured out a way to like catch them on VCAs. So maybe if it was like if it was a chaotic scene with a bunch of people, and we needed just like a one lead, I'd just duck everybody down, but bring up the one.
yeah.
Well, actually, now that they say that, that's like a technique I kind of use in mixing today, which is kind of cool. But
Just bring everything else down.
Yeah.
If you need something louder, don't turn it up. Turn everything else down.
Well, like catch if I have like a group of all the kids on one VCA as like an all,
Yeah.
and I want to bring everybody else down, but still I don't want to bring that one lead down. I'll just push that lead as far as I need to,
Yeah.
so I don't have to
into
like
it.
grab everybody individually.
Yeah, you just send more from that one into it, but then the
Yeah.
master overall is lower. Yeah. Smarter. Smart.
What
you, Sandra.
I do want to ask, what do you? I know you still work in town. Like you just did something at Exit In. I just saw you at the Ryman. Do you prefer the road life, or do you like having the venue? That like I work at these venues. It's solid concrete every time I know what I'm going to do. Or do you like the changing pace of kind of day to day? Even though you know on the road it's the same bit every day, but you know there's still a lot. I think to me there's more changes every day when you're on the road because you really don't know what's going to happen. Car breaks down, whatever. But which one do you kind of prefer, or is there one that you like to do, but you know it might take more of a toll? Like what?
I like that question a lot because
Thanks.
Nice.
for me, is that on the teleprompter? Oh,
No.
It's good off the cuff question. For me personally is I like a lot of different things, even in my personal life. I'm just the spectrum of things I enjoy and like is very wide,
Yeah.
and I can be doing something small and enjoy it, or doing something intense and grand and enjoy that too.
Yeah.
But I really, really enjoy both in-town venue work and touring work, because it's always like this yin-yang situation where like the two sides are tied very closely together, but either side experiences a vastly like different perspective.
Totally.
And work-wise, they're kind of doing the same thing. Like if you work in a venue, like you're pretty much touring without touring.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Just
just not
doing-
setting up the staging and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then touring side, like you're pretty much working at a venue, but the venue's just changing.
Yeah.
But it's like the things you have to, the variables on the venue side is it's a different client each time. And then the variables on the touring side, it's a different venue or crew each time that you might have to interface with.
Yeah. Do you ever notice certain cities or certain areas of the country that the crews are more knowledgeable than others?
Dude, oh my God, y'all have so good questions. I love this. Yeah, there's different pros and cons, and I don't want to be dogging on any particular country. It's just maybe it's just different strengths,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or not country, like city, or even country. Because I was just in Germany for the first time recently.
All right, flex.
But-
That's fine.
Flex, yeah. After 9 years, I was able to go to Germany. 9 years, 10 years of doing this.
Finally did it.
Okay, so work ethic wise, even that I don't want to. There's a lot of places everyone has really good work ethic.
I guess have you noticed places that are extraordinary? We don't have to put down the ones that maybe aren't good, but are there ones that you notice to be extraordinary?
Okay, yeah, definitely recently, very recently. I was just with Dasha for the past year, and we had a Kane Brown support run in all of March, basically, a little bit into April. But we started in San Diego, so all the way on the west coast up to like Idaho, and then along the way towards the Midwest, or not even the Midwest. Like that was our last show was like the upper Northwest,
Wisconsin or something.
like I think it was literally just Idaho,
Oh, okay.
Portland, Oregon, and Idaho.
Oh, nice.
So it's just like a handful on the West Coast to start.
Okay.
And then we had to go all the way up to Canada, but drive across like all those Midwest states to get to like Minnesota or Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And then go up to, what's that?
The state or the should I pull up a
City in, I think not Saskatoon, somewhere Manitoba. What starts with a W? Why am I blanking on it? It's not Alberta. It's not Edmonton. You're looking it up?
Calgary?
map? Yeah,
Not Calgary. We did eventually have to go back that way, but
Map.
I keep wanting to say
Must know.
Wisconsin. It's not
Canada,
Wisconsin.
not USA.
Oh, you need a Canada map.
Oh, you're pulling up the map. Okay.
You need a Canada. I thought we were in the US.
No, we're talking Canada here.
well,
Sorry to distract.
No.
sidetrack with
This is
what-
this is part of it.
This is
Okay,
part of this is
yeah.
what we do. Yeah. Canada.
The
so much is that Manitoba.
you can do it.
Why am I blanking?
This looks clean. Oh, come on. You piece
Oh,
of junk.
okay.
There.
Yeah.
I like how blurry it is. Oh, there we go.
Winnipeg. Why was I
Winnipeg.
blanking on Winnipeg?
Oh, Winnipeg. Duh.
Winnipeg
Oh my
Jets,
god!
the hockey
yeah,
team.
it was the
Yes.
Jets.
Oh, the arena.
Arena,
there.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We played like all sorts of hockey arenas. Which
I've
is
never
cool.
looked at a map of Canada like this before.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I've never seen those colors like on the Canada.
I didn't know it broke up like that, like into territories like that.
Yeah.
For real?
Providence.
Well, I mean, I knew
they're
that
like
they were.
states. They're
I
like,
knew that they were territories. I just didn't know that was the shapes of all of
I
them.
want to live up in Nunavut,
Baker
all the way
Lake.
up there.
Newfoundland.
No, you want to go up here to Resolute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Resolute, Canada.
Dude, Upper
Wait, no,
Canada.
what's
like,
that at the very top? Starts with an A.
Alert.
Alert.
Oh.
Alert.
Alert. Wait, they might have a certain way of pronouncing that.
People, you just
Yeah. Is it
A-L-E.
alert or?
Or what's with the French
Don't make
accent?
fun of me.
Maybe it's a French accent, so it's like hello.
Well, okay.
And resolute is resolute. You know.
Yeah, sure. My mom's
Yeah.
Canadian. I should know this, but she's from Toronto. She's from down here.
That's fine.
Oh, nice.
Michigan. Yeah.
If there's any Canadians that are watching, listening, tell us how to pronounce.
Or just people that are better at
or yeah, I guess that no.
yeah, not geology.
World geography.
Geography. Yeah.
If you're really into rocks, tell us how to pronounce these Canadian names.
Although
Thanks.
if you know me, you know that I failed geology twice in college.
You did.
Well,
I guess I didn't know
definitely
you.
failed.
I
I
didn't-
definitely failed. I was in Michigan, so you wouldn't know.
Oh, so
But
you know,
I had a
Michigan,
hard
yeah.
time with learning rocks. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, back to this.
A random fun fact.
Stalagmites, stalactites.
They're tightly holding on, and the stalagmites might reach the ceiling one day. That's how I learned it. Did you guys not know that?
I didn't even.
Stalactites might, like the tight.
Stalactites are holding tightly to the ceiling.
Okay, yeah.
And stalagmites might reach the
Might.
ceiling.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm back in school again.
That's what it is.
I mean, we're looking at
About
a
to fail.
map, like on a wall.
should I pull up more like
No.
rock types
No,
on
no,
the?
no.
I mean, on the side, you can keep it on standby just in
Yeah.
case. Like open a new
Just
tab.
open another tab.
Pull up the water cycle on another tab. Let's get to that later.
But, Ooh, good pictures.
I bet Nashville, like pound for pound, probably has some of the better stagehands around the country, just because of like
There's
volume.
good, yeah,
you know,
volume and
volume and
the different. There's some unions and just a lot of people who have been in town. I mean, there's just a volume of large volume of events and music and stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, they're probably more well versed.
Before we get to the break here, rapid fire Una question: what's the best concert you've ever been to? Not work, been to as a patron.
been to as a patron.
Yes.
There's like a top 5.
Okay,
Okay,
one
top
of-
5, but
top
quick.
5.
One of them is Meshuggah.
Ooh, where at?
Ooh,
Where
yeah,
at?
where'd you see him?
Is at Marathon Music Works, and
Nice.
I've seen a lot of shows there, but this was like the best sounding show.
Yeah,
Really?
One of the best sounding shows I've heard, like sonically, and then mix wise, and because I started to walk around the room like halfway through the show, and I was like, it sounds great here, it sounds great there, and then I can hear everything. I can hear like each performer, and then the vocal was just like present but like raw, and
yeah.
Yeah.
it's just a great mix. The drums were just beastly, and then like their
That's
style,
a good way to describe it.
their style of music was just like, this is something I'll hit
Sugar's so
later.
good.
Yeah, something I'll hit later. But like, when you listen to a record, like just something like a piece of music that's been recorded, whether it's like an album or a song or whatever you listen to it, streaming CD, it's like that's what that song is in that space. But like live performances, it's gonna be at the very least slightly different from
Yeah.
a recording, and then unique differences like, oh, maybe they're using maybe a new piece of gear that they didn't use on the recording, or maybe they you have a giant PA, you don't have a giant PA at home, so you have room to just experience a live performance in a totally different way that you wouldn't from a recording. But like, it felt like they captured the recording energy and just made a really good live show with it.
That sounds so cool. I want to see
So-
Meshuggah.
Okay, you got any?
Yeah,
Is that number 1 or is that just?
I would put that at number 2. I don't know.
What's number 1?
number
I gotta know
one?
I
number
don't
1.
know, because there's so many I have to decide on number 1. But it was so good, I could put it at number 1.
Okay, well let's go ahead and get the break here. At the break, we usually pick a song to play. Like we'll take a break here, but when there's a guest, we let the guest pick the song. We'll just play like 30, or we'll play like
week.
That's a good delay.
we'll play,
Thank you.
we'll
Thank
play
you.
like
Thank you.
we'll play like a minute of it at the break, and it's just a gut reaction, like something maybe you listen to on the way here, or something you've been thinking about recently. Like, what's a song? Just give us any song.
Oh, right now, just throw it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, throw it, chuck it
We'll play it for the people here at the break.
for the people.
Peeps.
And then this is like a song that's just like
Any
off the top of the head.
Yeah. Anything that
Off
you're
the cuff.
enjoying right now. Yeah.
gut.
Yeah, I tend to go back to a lot of music that I've like worn out prior, like different eras of my life or albums or whatever. But Deafheaven, the song Shellstar
Shellstar by
Sweet.
Deafheaven. Is
by
that what it is?
Deafheaven.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you know that song? I don't know.
I think I do.
We'll
I gotta
play here at
hear
the
it, but
break.
I think
Yeah.
I do.
All right. Here is Shellstar by Deafheaven. All right.
Yes.
Here you go.
Enjoy it.
And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed that song. We were just talking about it. We think it's Brendan. What was the
I like
word
the
you
vibes.
used?
It was Deftones, but more shoegaze.
Shoegazy.
Yes.
Shoegazy. I like
Yeah,
that
shoegaze.
kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's fun.
I said indie.
I didn't even hear what you said because it was definitely not right.
It was not wrong. But then you said shoegaze. I was like, that's way better than what I said.
You just have this like filter that's like, if it's unintelligible, you just know regardless of whether it's right or wrong.
Yes. Yeah. I just kind of know that if I can't hear it, it's probably wrong. It's like Peanuts, like wow, 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 wow.
The teacher you're saying?
Or any of the parents. Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
So we listed off earlier a bunch of the artists that you've worked with. The first one that I guess the one that I was the most curious about was David Cook. And the reason I ask is because David Cook came to the Franklin Theater last year.
He did.
I was so excited to advance with Jaren. I was like, dude, I get to email Jaren. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing in the world. And then I think you were on tour with either Dasha or somebody else at the time.
Or Tenille, maybe.
And I got to work with Glenn, Glenn is the man.
Yeah, Glenn's the
cool.
man. Yeah.
But I'm just curious how you got in with David Cook and what that experience has been like.
Yeah, like how did you go from
his Christmas song, the War Pigs, but Christmas?
Oh yeah,
it's
a Christmas
cool.
song?
Yeah, he did the Christmas show last year. He had his show we did last year was a Christmas one.
Wait, it was it was a themed Christmas thing?
Yeah, it was a Christmas show. He did all Christmas songs.
David Cook.
Yeah.
In 23, he was here in like February and did a regular show with the string quartet.
Oh, I'm sad I missed
And then
that.
and then last year he did a Christmas.
And I have a video of this song that I'm talking about, so I can show you when we're done.
Nice.
But to follow that in succession, like how did you get from, because you worked at there's 3 venues basically, Exit and Ryman and here at the theater. How did you go from just the venue guy to the road? Like what was there, like did someone here give you opportunity or like what was the transition to get on the road?
There's also some other things I left out too I forgot to include. I worked at Claire for about 4 years.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. The Claire Nashville shop. Before that, I was working at like a hotel. This is like with the Franklin Theater too. I was still doing stuff.
Yeah.
But got to balance with the crew rotation and stuff. So in the downtime, I was like, I still need to kind of pick up more work. And I almost worked with Sound Image. And then the time I was like in the middle of getting hired with like paperwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's where I actually got my like passport started because like they just needed a passport on file just in case they needed to send people different places. So that fell through because it was just a weird, busy time with festivals and stuff. They were just like, all the people who were onboarding me just like had to dip and like go to do festivals and stuff. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not getting hired yet,
stuck
or
in
at
limbo.
all. Yeah, I was like, maybe I still have an application that's it's in progress.
Yeah, pending.
And I could, even though they're under Claire now too, but in the meantime, I was like, I'll pick up this hotel gig. I got to find some other show work just to kind of start making money and stuff. And then another tech here at the Franklin Theater started having me run sound at his church to kind of supplement and like give him like a little break from, because he's like the main guy there.
Yeah.
So give him family time at home or also more work here. You can kind of balance it. So before Claire, I was balancing theater, church services on Sunday and maybe Wednesday night. And then it lined up with the hotel gig because I was 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. at the hotel.
Doing what?
Front desk.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So
you get done with a show that's from like 1 p.m. load in to 10 p.m. and then go straight to the hotel for
I had
8 more hours.
I had a few line up like that, yeah.
Oh,
or like
dude.
getting out of a church service and then going to the hotel. So I lived like a freaking vampire for like 5 months. I was at the hotel for 5 months, and was still kind of feeling around in town for different things, maybe. And then Claire, the shop manager, shout out to Gary Benner at Claire. He's still over there. found my
Gary.
He found he somehow got my application after sifting through people or whatever, and was like, yeah, you can come in. It was like, was it Labor Day, kind of in September-ish?
Yes.
And then I just kind of got onboarded as like cable department tech.
Nice.
And at Claire, all the different shops and any different given vendors, like there's usually a lot of people working on any given thing, but at Claire it's kind of interesting where they have a certain amount of people in each department to only do those roles. So there's like cables, there's console world, there's prep world to like label cases and stock up the inventory to fill out the orders for the different gigs and shows, and then RF, which is like the last one I ended up being like supervisor of before I left. But I started as cable tester, the cable world, and then it's like
Works.
the super
Is that the entirety of the job, basically?
pretty much. There's a wall, there's a machine wall of like this slim tall machine is only for signal,
Yeah.
which is XLRs and quarter inches, anything audio, and then there's a power AC tester to test all the different resistance cables or feeder even, and that was like the entry for the shop usually for all new people, and then it was kind of like you kind of work your way up after a certain time. Or you could stay there if you wanted to, but like maybe get a slight raise over time or something like that. But yeah, through Claire I started to become acquainted with everybody, become friends, and eventually I still have that kind of network today. But where were we? What did you specifically ask about in terms of no, in terms of getting out of the venues, right?
Yeah, basically, how did you... Oh, Brendan's done. How did you... Because you were a venue guy, right? You worked at...
It was the Franklin Theater for a while.
Yeah.
I was,
and
like,
then you...
and I'm still like here still.
How
Did you pick the install of the Digico?
No, I was busy at that time.
But you picked up Exit In and Ryman. Actually, let's start there. How did you pick up the Exit In and the Ryman Auditorium?
Oh, okay. Exit In was before. No. Ryman was before Exit In.
You've just done too much. You don't remember.
There's so much, dude. I've gone through so much as a person.
Yeah.
You need a hug? I'll give you a hug.
I do need a hug. I would love, well, more hugs. We already hugged.
We did. Off camera. Yeah.
So mentioning Claire is how I kind of got, this is crazy, just tracing back how I got connected with all these things.
Yeah.
But Ryman was actually before Exit In because this was post-COVID, by the way, too.
Oh, okay.
I was doing Claire. I started doing less freelance work with Franklin Theater and stuff, and just got consistent work. I was just trying to have consistent work with Claire, so that ate up a lot of time throughout the week. Because not 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. It's just a regular kind of job, kind of thing. And then I decided to go full freelance after COVID started to die down with the, being safe and all that. But
And all that jazz.
all that jazz, a lot of jazz, emphasis on that.
Double time.
Yeah. The Ryman was kind of the first thing, my first foray after the COVID, starting to get busy with stuff, because the guy who was here at the theater for the longest time, he left home to go back home to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. He was just starting to have a family, like some children and family in North Carolina, so he kind of left. But he gave my contact over to the stage manager at the Ryman because they were looking for new hands. You know, a lot of people left the industry.
Yeah, after COVID, yeah.
So a lot of holes to be filled. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somehow she found my name and was like, "Yeah, you want to." She didn't even ask me to work at the Ryman, actually. It was Carly.
Yeah.
Shout out Carly. Hi, Carly.
That was cool.
Carly,
We
the
love
best.
Carly. She's the best. She was trying to suggest me over to Eastside Bowl,
Oh,
Nice.
which I think Brooklyn Bowl and Eastside Bowl were kind of starting at the same time.
okay.
But
I've never been to
Both
Eastside
with the
Bowl.
bowl.
both with bowling
Eastside Bowl is
alleys.
really cool.
It is cool.
It's a cool
very
spot. There's bowling alleys. There's like 3 stages. It's nice.
Cool. This is actually a really funny, crazy, just intertwined story. So she was trying to throw my name over to whatever the current production manager over there was, because they were building out, they were gutting that Kmart over there.
Oh, really?
By Briley Parkway and Gallatin intersection. So they were building up a crew. They were renovating the place, getting it ready for shows, kind of like the Pinnacle just came out recently. So fresh crew, whatever. And then I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the rec. And then leading up to when it was supposed to like start working with them, she was like, dude, I'm sorry. They completely got rid of the whole entire team, and now it's a new team. So like, they don't need anyone anymore. They're like just finding new people. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Dang.
We'll try again some other time or whatever like that. But then she was like, but hey, we still need people at the Ryman if you want to come stagehand for now. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just keep busy with that.
Yeah.
And then I just stayed there.
Nice.
She just kept asking for gigs, and then eventually there was like a new hiring process of like dedicated stagehand crew, which is cool.
And they wear the red ones, right?
the tech crew, the lighting and audio wear the red.
Yeah. See, me, I'm just an on-call, so I have a white. I have a
I
black
have
shirt.
mine's
with
white too.
You wear white? I
Yeah,
thought
it's
you were a
white.
red guy.
No, I was never a red guy.
So we're in the same boat then.
Yeah.
I worked at the Ryman twice, and it wasn't even for the
You
Ryman.
did?
It was for an SR or
There's
an
a-
SP, yeah.
There's a connection there too with the touring side
Yeah.
that I need to get to. It's just a crazy like unraveling of just me saying yes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just over the years. But
Would you say that you've said yes to basically everything? Like up until now, you've said yes to almost everything.
pretty much.
Okay.
If it was like a really, really dirt cheap pay gig, I tried to just do my best to say no and no, like try to balance like my worth as like my skill, because like
Totally.
after a few years at the theater, like I had a lot of solid fundament. Like I could have went on tour, just left the theater and went on tour after like 2-3 years here.
Yeah.
So like 2018, whatever. Or even before that, it was just like you can pick it up really easy if you're working at a venue. But I just chose different paths and tried to take advantage of opportunities by saying yes. So I'd get like really random, close to dirt cheap gigs that I would still say yes to, because if I didn't say yes, I would just be at home not doing anything.
Yep.
So it's like
Yep.
I might as well make some money on the side. But Carly, the Eastside Bowl gig didn't work out, and then that just made Carly take me in for the long. And then that
And you
turned into
hadn't
a
met her
long-term-
yet, right?
No.
No. That's so cool, Carly.
And guess my first gig at the Ryman was freaking King Crimson.
Nice.
And I got to see the show. I was like, wait, I can watch the show?
Yeah.
Like, what? I thought it was just staging. Like, what? Thank you.
yeah.
That's sick.
And I was like, oh, this is so sick. And then it was kind of history from there. I still work there, obviously. And Claire had some of my friends who are like account managers or ops who manage the touring acts, inventory and orders and stuff. But one of the accounting managers threw my name over to, I think it was Eastside Bowl, because they were a part of the PA install for the venue. So there's like a Claire rig that's hung up in there. So they're like, yeah, there's a, I think they just needed me to like help repair a cone or something, or just like help do some light maintenance. Like they had already been running. This is the next year after the Ryman, the Eastside Bowl fell through, and I was just working at the Ryman. But
So
then
this is
like
like 2021, 22?
2022 maybe? No,
Yeah.
2021 probably.
Okay.
And I was actually still balancing like one-off road gigs too.
Yeah.
Maybe through Spectrum or something like that. But the next year, like January, they had me just kind of go over to Eastside Bowl to do some light maintenance stuff with the PA or something like that, like replace a part or something. And then I happened to the PM of that venue at the time kind of walked me around and did different things just to intro me to the space. And then they were like, hey, do you actually want to help run this small acoustic show on like the small stage? Because like there's a small stage in the same room as the big stage.
Yep.
So it's just like speakers on sticks. And then I was like, oh, sure, I'll do that. And then like they just kept hiring me to do other gigs there.
Nice.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm working at Eastside Bowl now. And I met JoJo there. He was one of the lead techs there. Shout out JoJo, good friend now. And his wife Jess, JoJo is the front of house guy for Old Crow Medicine Show. And his wife Jess is also a production manager. And I think it was towards the end of that year or going into it, Exodus was going through a renovation. Like they had gotten new management that was thankfully keeping the space as like a concert space.
Yeah.
As opposed to potential hotels or restaurants or whatever. So that was cool. But his wife happened to become the GM, PM of Exodus down the line. And then he was like, hey, you want to work at Exit? We're starting to build more crew when this reopens. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's like I started doing front of house monitors over there. And then eventually started doing lights over there too. Because over time,
I always forget you do lighting too. Gosh.
Yeah, man.
very
does
basic. There's a lot to learn about like on the programming side. But I think some of you guys have also been like shadowing like me, like different LDs here.
A little bit.
at the theater.
He basically can do lights on his
Oh,
own.
yeah.
I've been doing movie
He's
games
great.
for a couple of years
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
But you've done a couple shows and corporate stuff.
I did Molly Hatchet.
He did do Molly Hatchet.
Nice.
I have not. I'll do DFA in the mornings. Like
The presets.
I just pull up the session. I'm like, all right, done.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I made a new one for movie premieres so that you can start being TD/LD for movie premieres. Sorry.
Wild.
That just came up right now. I'm
For
sorry.
movie
I will
premieres.
forget. Yeah, like, never mind. We'll talk about it later. I don't know.
Well,
shouldn't have
now I
brought it
want to
up.
know. I'm going to be LD and TD.
Like, you know how sometimes when we do movie premieres, like, I would be TD and do lights, and you would do audio?
Yeah, I like
If
that.
in the situation, if I'm ever unavailable, you could do it, and someone else could do audio.
Or I could just be TD and do
all
audio.
three, yes.
Well, no, I'll just do TD and audio.
Yes. Okay.
No lighting.
No
at
lighting
all.
from
No
us.
lighting. No, I'll turn the lights on and off. And that's
It's what it is. It's just an on.
Oh, I could do all three then.
Okay.
The potential's there.
All it is just a downstage watch for the people standing in front of the screen.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time. I can.
Brendan's like, yeah, everything's gonna be set up. Like I'm making a new scene. He's like, no, I still don't want to do it.
Question about
Hire
you
me for lights.
doing lights, though. Did you find it easy or hard getting into lights? Because I
It was
low-key...
hard as hell, dude.
Whoa.
It was hard for me for like 2 weeks, and then my brain just understood the grammar.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, I just got it. And
The
then,
grammar?
And then
Is that what
from,
you said?
Yeah, the grandma.
terminal-
grandma and the grammar. And the
grammar.
terminology.
The terminology.
And then from then, all it's been is just like design and just style. And it's like, once you learn how to do it, it's just your brain making it look good.
Dude, the creative juices.
Yes,
that flow,
it's
like,
the creative
I have
part.
not thought this way about live shows. This is cool.
Dude, thinking about color combinations that I haven't thought of before is actually crazy. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what else can I? Oh, I get like a brain blast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do
Mega
it.
Mind, it zooms into your head.
Yeah, and then I go to shows and I see like the simplest lighting combos. I'm like, oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Like,
They make it look so easy.
yeah,
I
blue
don't
and
know
white
anything
looks
about
good.
that.
A blue wash with white gobos just looks good. Duh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The lighting conversation we didn't know we
Yes.
needed. But okay, so now getting
I just realized we never covered the before the break, right before the break, tech question about like amazing techs in different cities. If you want me to hit that
well,
real
we
quick.
kind of
I don't-
answered it. But like,
I had a city in mind, which
Yes.
what
What's
city?
that
What
city?
so
Oh yeah, but I looked up Canada and everything. Yeah.
Montreal.
Ooh, nice.
Really?
Montreal. Wait, I can't remember if it was Quebec City or Montreal. We did two
up the map.
shows, one in Montreal. I'll say both of them, but one of
Wasn't
them
it
had
Winnipeg?
No.
no. That's where
Oh.
the first Canada
Oh, got it.
city. With that
The map's back.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't even see Montreal.
Well, okay, backtracking a little bit just to summarize. So we started in Winnipeg, to the left of Ontario, yep, purple. And then we had to go all the way to Calgary. So we drove west
that's a long.
to the middle of, just about the middle of the States, then
Yeah,
up to Winnipeg,
wow.
then go back to Calgary, west, then up to Edmonton. And then this is Weekend Warrior style, so the
Yeah.
band all had to go home.
Oof.
This drive was brutal, so I had to stay out with our monitor guy, Glenn. Shout out Glenn.
Glenn.
Great guy. I love that guy.
We love Glenn.
I didn't know Glenn did monitors for that.
Yeah, I didn't tell you?
I didn't know that. No, that's cool.
I hired him on. I was able to hire him
Nice.
on, and there was some personnel changes, and then it was a playback tech, but then playback got moved to the drummer, and I was like, we still kind of need a new guy, but also for this run, there's no bus, so the situation was van and trailer. Needed someone to stay out the whole time because of the routing was just that crazy.
Yeah.
Especially for the Kane Brown. The Kane Brown crew was even saying like, this routing is just crazy. But then like we're in this like, not even a Sprinter van. It was a Ford Transit because
Ooh, nice.
the one Sprinter van that I had to book by the time that decision had to be made, it was the last model of that type available. And then I get the van and it has no trailer hitch. So the first weekend I had to do, we needed to use a trailer, like a U-Haul trailer, but I had to just not pick up the trailer and reschedule it. So we had to like fit a whole bunch of crap in the back of the van and rough and tough it that first weekend. And then we switched out the van in San Francisco, because there's another location of that same company.
In San Francisco.
We picked,
This is
okay,
wild. All these cities you're mentioning, they're like
it's actually kind of crazy.
so far away.
I want to get back to like the current question you had, but this warrants some storytelling. So we started the Kane Brown run in L.A. The first show was in San Diego, but Glenn and I had to fly to L.A. to pick up the van, one, and then pick up the supposed U-Haul trailer, two, and then drive down to San Diego where I rented gear from Sound Image, which was through Claire, and I had my kind of connection there. But driving the van down to San Diego to prep gear the next day at Sound Image, we only had a day, and we needed like 2 days, but we somehow did it all we could to get that prepped. And then the day after that was the show day in San Diego. All the band flew to San Diego, and we picked them up, yada, yada, yada. So we had to rough and tough that first weekend without a trailer. But then I was like, wow, how are we going to do this? Like, we need a trailer. We can't do this. Is hard. So I was like, wait a second. Let me call Band to Go, the van company. They have an off. I know. So I was like, I knew they had an office in Portland, which was our next show. But then it was like, logistically, I was like, we have to go to San Francisco because it would just be easier to deal with. I would have to stay out with Glenn that whole week if we did it in Portland. But I was able to fly back home, thankfully.
How do you know where all this stuff is? Like you just, there's an office in Portland. Like what is it? Just from
over the years?
stuff you've done?
Over the years, I had to rent from the same company.
Okay.
Or I've decided to, like, it's a useful thing because like I've had to rent from their New Jersey location. I've had to rent from the Austin.
Yeah,
and then Portland for another artist. It's just like over the years, it's like kind of finding the different spots and
You acquire
yeah,
knowledge. Got it. Cool.
yeah, just like thinking logistically, like you have to like orient your brain a certain way. But so we changed the van out to a transit, which isn't great for long distance because like the gas gets eaten up so easily because it's not diesel and it's just a regular gas. But we were able to pick up the U-Haul that day. That took forever. But all that to say, it was van and trailer from that point on. So we everyone would fly home but Glenn for the weekend warriors, like 3 shows a weekend.
Yeah.
And then everyone else was able to go back home, which is great. Glenn was getting driving pay, which was good too. So he was making extra money there, but it was still kind of very long drives. So I had to stay out for this particular weekend from Edmonton. So the last show of that weekend was Edmonton. Then we had to make it over to Quebec over there and do Quebec City.
Quebec is way
It's way over there. And then like visually on the map, like it looks like not that bad. Like if I was driving to Michigan from Nashville.
Yeah, no.
And then I like type it in the maps and I'm just like,
That's 12
It
hours.
looks like Florida to Michigan.
well, okay, I type it in the map and then I'm just like, why does it say 23 hours and why does it say 23 and a half hours? Like it doesn't look that long.
That's
but it
the
was
length of the United States.
It's
dude.
the lake. For that tour, we drove two country widths,
Whoa.
and like a tip for like bus
What
drivers.
time of the year was this? Also, if it's like
March.
winter, you're
But it
hitting
was-
snow then, right?
Well, we thought
Yeah,
we had to get chains for the tires.
yeah.
Yeah.
And back in Portland, like going up from Portland, because it was snowing over there too. And then like Canada is just another beast. It was so funny. Cole, one of the clear techs on the Kane Brown crew, made a funny comment, and he was like, "Canada just feels like America DLC, like visually, like
Yeah.
because it's the same kind of like a lot of highways and like not much. It's just like open land or like farms or mountains,
Yeah.
and it's just like, but we've never seen it before, or it's you never usually see that, so it's just like you unlocked a second part of America that you haven't seen before. North America. I'll say
America
North
part two.
America.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the States.
Yeah.
America Part 2.
That's cool. So you said that Montreal though has the best crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder
'Cause
why. A lot of the venues, the arenas and stadiums use union crews, and a lot of times it's IATSE, so the different IATSE numbers and unions across the states and in Canada. But that particular venue in Montreal, like they were all older guys, but they were like ex-touring guys. So it's like they've been on the road, so they knew everything that we needed. And verbiage and all that, and they're like super accommodating too. They weren't like telling us how to do things, but they were ready to receive instructions from us about like, hold on these things for now. We got to bring the van around, or like, this needs to go for a house. Simple or more advanced kind of instructions with the gear even on stage. So
Nice.
that was really impressive, or grateful to have them. And then the next show we had to go from Montreal to Rhode Island. I forgot the city in Rhode Island. But that was also a really good crew. It was funny because like they all had like the New England accents.
Yeah.
It was like really thick, and they were just like all in their whole world of conversations, and we would be included sometimes.
You want to do an impression of it for us?
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not. I have to be in a certain headspace.
Yeah.
AKA 2 drinks in.
Yeah. I mean, maybe at lunch today I'll break it out. But they were really awesome, and they were like hilarious too.
Yeah.
So back to the other question. I know. I think for tech guys that like, hey, I want to do the tech thing. I want to do front of house monitors, whatever, and they're at a venue right now. To get from venue to road might seem like a big gap. So obviously, you had people to help you along to get you to the gigs, and I think as we've heard, saying yes to everything is always a good thing. But is there something else you would say that kind of got you from venues only to basically mostly touring now?
Yeah, I would say you can only say yes for so long before you like get overworked. Mm-hmm. And I still say yes to a lot of things, but I kind of learned to set firmer boundaries with like time and stuff, being away from home and stuff like that. But networking, like I feel like everybody says that, but there's a certain kind of like energy I try to emit when like in a workspace, either at a venue or on tour, and like I'm never trying to like ask about opportunities, but I'll just shoot the shit with anybody. Like if I'm on the road, like I'll just be chatting it up with like the security guy who's like watching stage left. If you like, oh, he's like, oh, I love your jacket, or like, oh, I love that team. If I'm wearing a sports thing or something like that, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, how do you like the finals or whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
Or like I was chatting up this other older woman about like her jacket. I think she had like a Canada Goose. I was like, oh, how is that? I've always thought those looked so warm.
Yeah. Love it.
But then when I was at the Ryman, there was a NSP. Yep. Shout out to Kenny because he kind of introed me to
Kenny. I remember Kenny.
You remember Kenny?
I never met Kenny. He texted me twice.
Oh, because I was trying to get you in with that too.
And then I didn't hear back.
Did you meet? You met Kenny, right?
I worked for Kenny. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he somehow, I just casually chat with anybody and everybody on the tour side or like with the stagehands, third party people, anybody kind of thing. And Kenny, who was the owner of that stagehand company, who worked with the Ryman local crew, was like, hey, dude, I really like how you work and how you like carry yourself or your energy or whatever. He's like, how do you think about working with, did I write Elizabeth Cook on that?
Yeah, I think she was the first name you put on there, actually, yeah.
Elizabeth Cook, yes.
She was awesome to work with, and I got connected to her through Kenny because Herschel was a good friend of Kenny and also worked with him on stage handing stuff, but he was the drummer for Elizabeth. So they were needing a TM audio guy to go on the road. That's usually the typical, if you're like on a low budget, need someone to like handle all the logistics and the production and the payments. And then like, hey, you might as well mix the show if you know audio.
Yeah.
Basically,
on the side.
Yeah.
There's the 4-piece band and then you do literally everything.
Everything.
Basically.
Yeah. And I'm still...
It's tough.
It's tough. And I'm still like trying to build the most efficient way to like handle that kind of role. So I can like teach mentor other people who are trying to break into touring or whatever. That's a really easy way to get into touring, but it costs a lot because you have to say yes to these kind of random gigs that may be sketchy or just a lot of responsibility for one person. So that was my first kind of big networking moment. That was like a seed in a way, because I wasn't even really the full TM. Like there was another guy who was he was like the opener of the band, but a good friend of her and her camp. He was usually the one handling the TM stuff, and he would fill me in. I would be like the kind of the assistant TM in a way, but then eventually
the ATM,
the ATD. So I kind of got exposed early on there, and kind of like saw the flow of how an artist who would come into a venue like the theater would operate, like different things they would need at the top of when they arrive, and then closing out the night kind of thing, and also like the advancing part. So I did like a few months with them, and then they were on a hiatus or something like that. But then Elizabeth's manager also managed a few other artists, and one of them was Morgan Wade, and she was like blowing up at that time too, because she had like a hit single off of debut album, and like she was like getting huge crowds, and they needed to find someone. They liked me a lot,
and you were the man,
and I was the person, like right time.
Yeah.
I didn't have to like interview or anything. They were just like, yeah, we like you, and we'll give you some resources, and if you need anything, just ask us, and we'll just kind of build this thing as it goes along. And then I got like really into the TMing and PMing side of the mixing. It just felt like breathing at that point, because I was like, oh, okay, VIP's all set. Okay, merch. Yeah, they've got the items and the iPad and you know, payments settled out for the end of the night for that, and then all these people I've talked to from the venue. It's like, okay, now we can line check. Okay, yeah, I don't even need a sound check because it's already like doors. I'll just figure out the first song, and
Yeah.
it's been like that for a long time with different people because like you kind of have to sacrifice
Yeah.
certain things like that. But like I would figure out the band's sound pretty quickly, and then I could just use half of the first song to like get everyone at a good place if I needed to. I try to get dialed in at soundcheck, but sometimes
It just goes so quick.
it just goes so quick, and you don't want the band waiting around. Because there's like sometimes there would be a lot of stuff to set up on stage. Like David has certain input lists, and there's like a playback rig for supplemental things and stuff like that. Eats up time, and then a lot of clubs too. Below a certain level, you have to do more of like stage work because either they're juggling multiple jobs too, or like they only have so much like
Their infrastructure doesn't take it.
kind of thing. So you have to overextend yourself on that end to like do the tour side and the venue side to set up the stage.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, you know, get a really dingy place and you have to like, no one's there to be found. I'm like, okay, let me just try to find these mic stands.
Yeah.
And like, okay, closet. Okay, yeah, closet. And then like, oh, there's 5 mic cables here.
And that's it.
Let me check front of house. Okay, there's a basket under front of house, and like the rest are under there. And like finding, like I have to like do search and find hide and go seek with the cables and gear and stuff. Sometimes it's like that kind of crazy if it's like a really small club or something like that. But where was I on track with the Morgan Wade thing? I guess
No, I mean that
was when I started.
That's a great way to answer. I think it's just saying yes, but also and then putting up with.
Because I was just stagehanding
get.
at the Ryman.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wasn't looking for tours, but I was like, sure, I'd love to work with that and, you know, build up my chops on that side of the touring. Like the mixing, you know, I've already gone through my fundamentals with that at the Franklin Theater, and it comes easy to get things dialed in fast.
Yeah.
And then that's a good way to get integrated. There's so many different ways because like anyone can like see you and like take a liking to you.
Yeah.
And then I never try to like look or sound needy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know, here's my card if you're ever looking for. I just chat up with people and like I know I want to be working and doing certain things, but like I just let the conversations be what they are in the moment.
Yeah. Like if you don't get to, hey, I do this if you need something.
Yeah, even if
it
it's
doesn't
like
get there, you don't say it.
Yeah, if it comes up that like I do front of house or lighting, like
Yeah.
But then if it doesn't reach, if the conversation doesn't reach that point, I'm like,
yeah,
it is what it is.
It's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that got me like, and then like with Morgan Wade, it was a mix of headlining tour, which was like sold out crowds,
Yeah.
in all these different venues, and then mixed in with Luke Combs and Chris Stapleton support tours, and I was just like,
what was that like?
It was crazy. Dude. The first big shows with her was the Buckeye Country Festival, which is in the Buckeyes Stadium in Ohio.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the biggest. It's bigger than Nissan Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And this is like a college football field. Jeez. And I had giant PA to like mix our regular band on.
You were mixing in that stadium?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay.
Yeah, and it's outside.
Outside.
Oh.
And she had enough notoriety with her songs. Like she had a really, really dedicated fan base early on, which was cool. So a lot of people enjoyed her, were there to enjoy her set early.
Great.
She's like first of 3 and all these things.
Yeah.
Even though she had this following. And then Buckeye Stadium with Luke Combs was cool. And then a lot of other different shows with Luke Combs. And then Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That was like one of the
That's
next
cool.
arenas. I was like, I'm not even in like a hockey rink. This is like Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
And this giant ass room. And it was a little tough, not gonna lie, because it wasn't fully packed and it's just like reverb on reverb.
Yeah.
But it was fun because I was like, how are we already here? We just played like this kind of hippie festival in North Carolina with like
now you're doing that.
really bad PA or like put together PA, and I had so much trouble. Like, and then like the next weekend we're with Luke Combs again, and we're in Atlanta's premier stadium, or is that a stadium? Yeah. Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah. Well, dude,
crazy.
that's crazy.
It can just happen like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's just like a lot of going with the flow.
I think you're in a good spot too, because you've got the experience you need, right? So now I think it's a matter of you just getting going where you want to go, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
If you think you're in that place, I'm just telling you where I think you are.
So anyway, your career's laid out in this next few steps like that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I think that's a great place to leave it.
Yeah.
At the end of the podcast, I like to let our guests kind of promote whatever they want, suggest their socials, to follow them, what's next for you, whatever. So this is your time. Say whatever you want. Maybe not whatever, but mostly whatever.
That's crazy. This is your time. Say whatever you want.
Start swearing. Like, wait.
I don't know. It's really weird because I'm laying low for the short term in the summer. I don't really have like any content or anything, so I'm just kind of operating business as usual. Like, I kind of prefer to just feel out the gigs as they come in.
And you're getting married.
I'm
getting
getting
married.
married.
What month are you getting married in this year?
July.
He's getting married.
Thank you.
Dude, congrats.
Yeah.
so cool.
So it's good that you're home.
I especially need to like that's a big factor why I need to lay low. I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
just
yeah.
like go on tour and then like, oh yeah, let me catch a flight to, back home,
Yeah.
and then like just hop in my wedding and then just fly back out to the tour. Like, no, I can't do that.
No.
That's not. But yeah, I have a lot of things still kind of trickling in, which is cool.
Yeah.
For different networks and stuff. But I will say another shout out to David Loy from the Kane Brown crew.
Okay.
He's the front of house guy. Been with
David.
him for a long time. It's kind of crazy because I never had like a really desire to mix front of house. I was always, let me just do whatever's needed, and
Yeah.
I always had a passion for like the craft of a live show, doing whatever. Like, I enjoy monitors, I enjoy front of house kind of equally, but damn, dude, being on the support run with David made me like front of house. I got like front of house fever after that tour because I was like, he has an insane mix, and the systems engineer Tony, also shout out Tony. It's a Claire rig on their tour, and Glenn and I got to experience like the mix night after night, and we were like walking from front of house backstage during the show, and we're like, the sound isn't changing. I'm not hearing a difference. Like, there's no phase or whatever. Like, they have deployed this system to perfection, not even to perfection, because like they're not really doing anything crazy, but they just have it dialed in so well. Like the PA techs, the systems tech, David, Rob on monitors, they're all such a great crew. And then, but like it was set up for success for the support people too. And I was on a M32R compact desk.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else has like D-Labs, and David's got a Rivage. It's like my dream desk, one of my dream desks. But for budget, I had to use an M32R, and I was able to like really get a good mix for myself, and I was like able to push my like skill level to that level, which felt cool. Yeah. A lot of the times, even like the Luke Combs and Chris Stapleton, I felt like I had to like throw and go a lot still because I was on support desks. Well, I still had files and stuff that I could bring to each weekend, but I felt like I could like really dial in our show on that tour, like not like I have been able to before.
Nice. Yeah.
So if I'm trying to like orient myself more towards a front of house mixing touring position because it's like, oh, now I have all these kind of tools I could just bring out and like make a great mix. Like I already had like a solid mix fundamentally, but then extra like nice add-ons to like really paint a picture that I hear in my head that I've heard all these years is really cool. So
Sick.
I'm open towards the fall. Prospective camps.
Book him this fall.
Book them.
Prospective camps who are at a certain level of carrying audio package and a certain level of resources.
Yeah.
This man wants to get paid good.
Just having the tools.
What are your socials? What's your handle on Instagram and all that?
Instagram, Jaren.the.gray, JIREN.THEE.GREY.
EY. Not
EY, not AY.
EY. Well,
Instagram.
dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I wish I
Been
had more
awesome.
time to just like.
I know.
Well, we're
cover
going to go to
other
lunch
things.
and we're going to keep talking.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah.
it's been really cool to see you come from here and do all this stuff. So from the outsider's perspective, it's cool to watch you do the stuff you want to do and kill it as well. So, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
This has been the Groovin' Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, podcast The Green Room. That's kind of it for that. I don't know. Are we going to have a guest next week or no? I think that's just us.
I think it's just us, yeah.
I asked, what's his face? He didn't get back to me. It's a guest.
How are your seasons? Like, where are we at in this season?
This is episode 9, I believe, of this season.
Yeah, episode 9.
It's like middle or is it towards the end to make
This
an
is kind of in
is-
the beginning. We normally do like average numbers 30.
30. So
Oh.
this is like the
Yeah.
And this is
ending
3?
of the beginning.
Yeah, season 3, yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Finally got you after 3 years.
I've been that busy. Oh my God.
It's okay. It's a good
All right.
thing.
It's all right, yeah.
You can follow me at Massimo Stefano on YouTube, Massimo D Music on Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff.
Great covers. I see the drums and
Thank you.
productions and
Thank
music
you.
videos.
He
That's
mixes half the stuff now
Sounds
and plays
great.
on it. So, I don't know. As of when this comes out, we will have just recorded the next full band cover. It will not be out for another month or two, but it hopefully will
Hopefully
be
it
good.
came out all right.
Hopefully, the day of.
Hopefully I learned the part. No, I'm just kidding.
You learned the part. It's
I already
not
learned-
that
I already
hard.
learned it.
It's not.
It's easy.
Brendan, what's
You can follow me on B98 on Instagram. And yeah, that's really about it.
it.
Come to the Franklin Theater.
Yes. As
Yes.
of recording, we just had John C. Riley here last night. Funny show.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
A comedian show or a band show or both?
It was a
Both,
little
kinda.
bit of both.
Like Tim Heidecker's show?
I don't know who that is.
He's another like niche comedian.
Is it niche or niche?
Niche.
I have no idea. So that's
Nietzsche.
Niche.
get that E in there.
Tim Heidecker, he like half the show is a stand-up set,
Yeah.
and it's not even like a real stand. It's kind of like a meta stand-up set, and then the second half is he has a band, like he plays music too,
Oh.
and his own
I
music.
think the thing last night could be as easily described as almost like a musical, where it's like he had some spots where he was
Yes.
speaking, sometimes he was singing and
Was it
interacting with
solo?
the audience.
Was it just him?
No, he had
Him with
4
the
band
band.
members.
Oh, okay.
But it was super stripped back. There was like 3 mics on stage for a piano, bass, guitar, trumpet, or flugelhorn, really, and violin.
That
or fiddle.
sounds so cool.
It was really. He went into the audience a lot. It was really cool. It was a fun little
Yeah.
thing. So if,
Wait, you said it was like stand-up musical.
Kind of, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it was funny, but it was like a lot of music stuff. I actually wasn't working it.
it was all covers. It was like older music, like from like oldies, like crooners kind of music. But it was like it made sense. Like he was this persona of Mr. What?
It's romantic. I
Mr.
think.
Romantic, and it was basically him trying to find love with like from the audience. Like, will you love me forever? Like to some random lady in row B. Like,
Yeah.
it was funny.
Like theatrical, like kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So it wasn't like John show. It was like him as somewhat like whatever. It was fun. It was funny. Anyway,
cool.
If
Yeah. So come to the Franklin Theater.
come back to the Franklin Theater.
Yeah.
we got to get you back here because you're in town, so you can work a couple shows now. Huh?
Yeah, let me know when you're free, and I will definitely.
He will book you.
I will definitely book
We
you.
this is the dream. We got to get the 3 of us and like Chris on lights or something.
Yeah, like Tommy or something. Yeah.
And Justin.
Yeah.
Oh, I was able to do some shows with Chris on the road. That was cool.
You saw
Yes.
Chris on the road?
Yeah, with Tenille, we had a support run with Zach Brown Band.
That's right. I did remember that. Yeah,
He
yeah.
took a few photos of me in catering.
We gotta get.
I
we
remember
gotta get
seeing those
Chris.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those on Facebook.
That was a cool, like, full circle moment. It's like, oh, we were at the theater together. And
Chris Cockrell, for those of you who don't know, he's a
He's the
great
man.
lighting engineer.
yeah.
We gotta. I want to get
who
him
I
on.
shadowed. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
shadowed him among other people, like Tom, rest in peace.
Yeah, we love
And
Tom.
Tommy and Chris,
Smith.
like, they were
Yeah.
so cool to just let us, like, learn from them during shows. And
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 I love that about pros. They're just like, yeah, just watch what
Watch
I
the-
do, and
Yeah,
they're
they're
super
like,
chill.
Yeah, watch this.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this is really cool thing I like doing. I was
Yeah,
like, wait,
Chris-
go back to the first thing you said.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, start at the basics. How do I turn it on?
Go to step 0, please.
Dimmers, what?
yeah.
Anyway, thank you
Yes.
guys for watching, listening. Stay tuned. We got a lot more in store for this season. Thank you again, Jaren, for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Be safe whenever you go back on the road, and congrats on marriage.
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
yes, yes.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
I said peace. So go again. Go again. Go again.
Peace.
Ciao.